Welcome to the Megacast, our live daily TV, radio, and streaming show talking about all things Michigan. I'm Tyler Kieft. Today we'll be talking to a number of people about topics of interest and importance to Michiganders just like you. Let's begin with what's making headlines today on our news page at civiccentertv.com. On our local news page right at the top, click on local news or type in civiccentertv.com/local-news for updates throughout the day. Our top article today comes from Charles E. Ramirez at the Detroit News. For the second consecutive week, gas prices are trending downward in the Great Lakes state. According to AAA, average prices fell 20 cents this week across the state of Michigan to an average of about $3.24 per gallon. That's an 85-cent difference from this time a month ago. Now, compare that with what gas prices were a year ago. A year ago, we weren't complaining about gas prices being so high left and right. And what you actually find with these current numbers is that the difference is pretty small, standing now at just a 4-cent difference from the average price a year ago, with now being just about 4 cents greater on average the price per gallon than it was at this time in 2021. And AAA spokesperson Adrian Woodland says if the current status quo in the oil industry and the oil trade stays level, this trend may continue, stating, quote, Michigan motorists have seen gas prices steadily decline for the past 5 weeks, with some metro areas seeing prices even lower than this time last year. As demand remains low and stocks grow, drivers will likely continue to see pump prices decrease through this week, end closed quote. It's a good time to fill up that tank as you get ready for the holiday season. AAA is expecting 3.5 million Michiganders to travel this holiday season. That's a 3% rise from a year ago. Also making headlines today on CivicCenterTV.com's local news page from Chandra Fleming at the Detroit Free Press. On Monday, we spoke to Rabbi Kasriel Shemtov from Chabad Lubavitch of Michigan about this Sunday's Menorah in the D event. And just a few hours later, the big menorah arrived in pieces at Campus Martius Park in downtown Detroit as part of the city's continued celebration of the holiday season across many faiths in our local area. The menorah was installed piece by piece, putting together the giant steel fixture that will be linked with flame for the big event on Sunday afternoon at 5 o'clock at Campus Martius Park. To participate, you can go to their website at menorahinthed.com/RSVP to register and attend the event in person, or you can participate virtually and enjoy the event online via their web stream. Also on their website, menorahinthed.com. If you'd like to learn more information about the event and how you can participate, why you should participate, even if you don't practice Judaism yourself, you can view our interview on demand with Rabbi Shemtov yesterday on CivicCenterTV.com/Megacast. Just click on our watch full interviews link, and you'll find that right at the top of the page from yesterday's show. Finally, making headlines today on CivicCenterTV.com's local news page from Jason Beck at MLB.com. The Tigers finally did something significant this offseason. Now, not spending big money on free agents after a downright lackluster season. That would be crazy. They did, however, begin the process of updating the roster of lighting. The Tigers on Monday airlifted their 20-plus-year-old lighting fixtures out of Comerica Park to make way for a new LED lighting system that will modernize the in-stadium experience beginning next season. Features include brighter lighting without as much glare and a lower energy footprint, as well as the ability for extensive light shows, which surely will also add to the experience of stadium goers for concerts over the summer season. Said the president and CEO of Illich Sports and Entertainment, Chris McGowan, quote, this upgrade is a significant one because of the impact it will have to all who watch Detroit Tigers baseball. From improving playing conditions and ball tracking to innovative light shows that will help enhance the energy and buzz at the ballpark, this project was a focus for us to continue providing a first-class fan experience at Comerica Park moving into 2023 and beyond, end closed quote. Comerica Park now joins a gaggle of other major league stadiums in installing LED light systems, including Yankee Stadium, Great American Ballpark, Kauffman Stadium, Citizens Bank Park, Camden Yards, and Marlins Park. The new lighting system is expected to be in place in time for opening day at Comerica Park against the Boston Red Sox happening this season on April 6th, 2023. All of those headlines are on our website today at civiccentertv.com on our local news page, along with links at the top of the page for updates on COVID-19 and other public health concerns from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention at the federal level, the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, statewide and locally, where we originate our broadcast in Oakland County from the Oakland County Health Division. We have a great show ahead on this Tuesday edition of the Megacast. Coming up next, we'll talk about all things stocks and options with Jason Brown from the Brown Report. You're watching and listening to the Megacast.
Hey Laker fans, do you know a friend or neighbor that volunteers in Greater West Bloomfield? We would love to help you recognize them at the 51st Annual Michigan Week Awards. Countless members of the communities of Orchard Lake, Kego Harbor, Sylvan Lake, and West Bloomfield give their time and talent daily without regard for recognition. You can help recognize these individuals and organizations at our awards breakfast next year on May 12, 2023. Nominate your neighbor or organization starting January 28, 2023. Go to michiganweek.org for details.
Let's savor these moments. Made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the dining out going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date.
My Michigan TV is streaming everywhere on Apple TV, Roku, Fire TV, and more smart TV apps. My Michigan TV is on your phone too. Take us with you wherever you go. Just search for My Michigan TV on your favorite app store or visit mymitv.com. All Michigan, streaming everywhere. My Michigan TV.
Can I ask you a question? Why do you want to get the COVID-19 vaccine?
I don't like getting sick. The virus will die. It will be easy to not catch it. Keep my family safe and keep playing soccer. Because I love being vaccinated.
What's your hope for everyone?
I hope everybody gets the vaccine to keep safe and strong. Be like happy, having fun everywhere. Everyone stay safe and hope you get the vaccine.
Wondering what to say to someone who's been sexually assaulted or abused?
I believe you. I'm so sorry this happened.
It's not your fault.
Confidential and anonymous help is available at the Michigan Sexual Assault Hotline. Connect with us 24/7. Call 855-VOICES-4 or text 1-866-238-1454 for help. Learn more at michigan.gov/voices4.
What's happening around you? Hear about state events, businesses, and from the people behind them on the Megacast, an hour-long TV, radio, and streaming show keeping you informed on the day-to-day news. Listen in on talks with volunteer groups, documentarians, and financial advisors, Monday to Friday with your host, Tyler Kieft. Catch the Megacast weekdays from 10 a.m. to 11 on Civic Center TV, 89.3 Lakes FM, and streaming on mymitv.com. Watch Civic Center TV with our brand new live captions. To turn on live captions, go to civiccentertv.com and click Watch Live. In your web browser, click on the Options tab in the top right and find the Accessibilities tab. Then just switch on live captions to heighten your enjoyment of our local programming. Thank you so much for watching Civic Center TV.
Welcome back to the Megacast, our live daily TV, radio, and streaming show talking about all things Michigan. I'm Tyler Kieft. Learn more about our program on our website at civiccentertv.com/megacast. We will also find more information on all of our partnering stations across the Great Lakes State, including My Michigan TV, our co-flagship, streaming live 24 hours a day, 7 days a week online on mymitv.com, as well as on the free My Michigan TV app for your smartphone and your smart TVs as well. Learn more information on our website, civiccentertv.com/megacast, about My and all of our other partnering stations, and find our full shows and each individual interview on demand as well. Joining us now on the Megacast is Jason Brown from the Brown Report, as we are joined by him for our market talk, as we're in an interesting time once again in our market as we continue to deal with inflation, but now in kind of a different way where we're starting to see little bits and pieces of relief in the market and with inflation's impact on the economy. And so, Jason, as we bring you in, what should we be considering in this regard as it relates to where the market is at right now and where the economy is at in particular in relation to the market?
Yeah, so thanks for having me on. I think there's a few things that are interesting that are happening that we should be paying attention to. Number one, I filled up for gas the other day. I put premium in my car, and for the first time in a long time, I paid $3 and I think 59 cents for premium, which is down from about I think I paid somewhere upward of 5.40 in the past. I mean, so that's a big drop in prices of paying for gas. So you can start to see some of the things are coming down as far as price wise. The thing I'm not seeing come down yet is food prices, but I think that's going to self-regulate itself because as food costs continue to go up, or at least as people are charging more for, eating out at restaurants, people are just going to decide to stay home and cook. And I think it's going to force them to bring those prices down, even if it means bringing them down to break even, so that they can move the product and that people can feel comfortable eating and shopping again. And then today we had the CPI report come out. If you don't know what that is, that's the Consumer Price Index. It basically measures how much consumers are paying for goods. Is it, inflated, or is it deflating and coming down? And that report came out cooler than expected, which means the numbers are starting to come down a little bit. And it just makes sense. Prices can't keep going up forever. They eventually plateau. And then as demand drops, they start to come back down because people need to sell what they can to keep their doors open, even if it means taking a less profit or, again, just moving the product off their shelves. So I think people can take solace in knowing that to some degree things are getting better, or at least there are signs that things are getting better. But it makes sense because bad times don't last forever, whatever those bad times are.
And it's interesting too, because the Federal Reserve has throughout this inflation crisis continued to raise interest rates by about 0.75% a month after month. They've done it an unprecedented number of consecutive times, something we've never really seen in the past, or at least in the history of the Federal Reserve. And yet, despite those tactics to combat inflation, the U.S. jobs report remains very strong. Employers added 263,000 workers just in the month of November, that according to an article from the New York Times. And so how does that also playing into how companies and their standing in the stock market in particular may be impacted, considering that the cost of these jobs maybe isn't having as great of an impact as we might have thought would be the case given the state of inflation?
So, yeah, a couple of things you just brought up that are super important. As Fed raises interest rates, really it affects purchasing, houses, it affects purchasing cars, it affects mostly your big purchases. So, if you go to the grocery store and you swipe your credit card, paying an extra 1 or 2% in interest, assuming you carry that balance over every month on $100 worth of groceries, isn't gonna affect you that much. But it is gonna affect you once you buy a $50,000 car. It is gonna affect you once you buy a $200,000-300,000 home, and you're paying that higher interest rate, and you're paying it for a longer period of time. And so what it's doing is it's making companies rethink about equipment they need. Do we really need this building? Do we really need this many employees to finance the expansion of that building? Because that's all going to cost us a little bit more money than it used to cost us. So it's going to curve, from a consumer standpoint, it's going to curve the appetite for buying cars. It's going to curve the appetite for buying houses. And we've seen kind of that market come down. And then on the business side, it's going to curve the appetite for expansion because companies don't want to pay a high premium to expand when people are starting to pull back on what they're purchasing. Now, On the employment side, if you think about it, when COVID happened, you had a lot of people exit the workplace. You had teachers that exited the workplace just because they were burnt out. You had nurses that exited the workplace, and then you had a ton of retirees, or should I say, people that were thinking about retiring, go ahead and put their hat in the ring and say, it's time to retire. And so the baby boomers, that whole generation was the biggest population during that time to work. So they're also going to be the biggest population to exit the workplace if they've just been hanging on just to have something to do. And so we still need people to come in and kind of fill up those jobs. So the unemployment rate is not because people, I don't think it's because people don't want to work. I think it's because we had so many people exit the marketplace that we don't have enough people to fill those jobs. And so as they raise interest rates and companies say, how can we cut costs? Maybe we lay some people off, maybe we don't expand. The goal is for people to go in and fill up those jobs. And I think that's why they're saying, when I say they, the media, is why they're saying, we had an official recession. The definition of a recession, which I think is super funny, the true definition of a recession is 2 negative quarters of GDP. We had 2 negative quarters of GDP. No one wanted to call it a recession. They said, why not? And they said, because we have so many job openings. And so now they're saying, well, the real recession is coming next year. Well, what is the real recession if there's so many job openings and inflation is coming down and maybe we won't have negative GDP? So I don't know if that's a fear tactic or they just don't want people to panic. And then once we get out of what technically should be the real recession, they're going to look back and say, oh, we were really in the recession, but they didn't want to call it that because they didn't want people to panic. So I think the job openings have created a floor to where we don't have to worry about people losing their homes and the economy exploding, because there's so many jobs out there that you can go get to keep that from happening. So I don't think there's as much to worry about as the media may be playing it up to be. And as not just the media, but as the Federal Reserve may be playing it up to be. But I think that's part of their job, to get people to hold on to their cash and stop spending so that inflation can come down. And if they're sitting on the couch thinking, should I go get a job? They want them to get off the couch and go get one. And I think a little bit of, I won't say fear, tough talk will encourage people to do that.
Jason, we are experiencing just a little bit of a technical issue on the backside of things here. We'll take a very short break. We'll come back and we'll continue on and talk about how all this really applies to individual consumers and families at this moment in time, what they can do in the market to put themselves in the best position right now and in the future, given what information they have at this time. That's going to come up in just about 30 seconds to a minute. We'll take a break very shortly here on the Megacast. Welcome back to the Megacast. I'm Tyler Kieft. Of course, you can learn more about our program, keep up to date, and find us on demand on civiccentertv.com/Megacast. Continuing on with Jason Brown from the Brown Report on today's edition of the Megacast. Jason, as we talk about where the U.S. economy is at, kind of the negatives that we're hearing about, the positives that we're seeing, how those two relate, how they kind of contradict each other, that creates, I would assume, a lot of uncertainty for the average consumer in the market as they're trying to make decisions about where to put their money, when to exit the market in certain places and take their route, where they'll put more money in and invest a little more in what could happen in the future of the market and bring them some more gains to their portfolio. So where we're at in the market at this time, with where we're at in the economy, given the impact of inflation, seeing the jobs report from last month, even just yesterday, reports coming from the Wall Street Journal that the Dow closed 500 points ahead of the CPI report. All this coming together, what does that mean for the average consumer, and how should they be approaching their place in the stock market at this time, given all this information?
I think the average consumer, being that they're average, they probably just get their information, from the news. And so they just wake up and say, oh, is it good or is it bad? But if you go a little bit deeper, the market is forward thinking. And so the stock market doesn't just take news for today or whatever the report is today. The stock market says, okay, we know that at some point inflation is going to come down. We know at some point people are going to fill in these job openings. And so the market typically bottoms ahead of the general public getting that information. It's not till they look back and then the news finally say that was the bottom, but the market starts to come in early in anticipation that things are going to turn and get better. And like I said, the CPI report came out today. Inflation's a little bit lower, or they call it cooler, but means it's dropping a little bit. And so I think people need to start thinking about the market as the worst. I shouldn't say the worst time to buy, but do you want to buy when things are at its most expensive price or at all-time highs? Because then it can fall pretty hard. But after it's already fallen, about 50%, which is what some of these stocks have come down to, it's unlikely that they're going to fall another 50% or go down to zero and go out of business. Amazon, Google, the Teslas, they're still selling cars. People are still running advertisements. People are still shopping on Amazon. So there's a floor where they still have some value. And I think consumers or the average investor needs to start looking and saying, what stock can I start to move into, or index funds or ETFs that I know these companies will be around for a long time, and they've fallen some, but they also have the biggest to rebound. And so I think they need to start positioning themselves to be ahead of the rebound versus you hear people who say, I pulled all my money out because I kept hearing recession, I was scared. Pretty much right around the time when most people do that is where the bottom hits and then the market turns around. And so don't panic. You've already sat through the pullback. It's more likely that we have more room to go up than we do to go down. And that's what I want people to be thinking about.
So Jason, in those kinds of situations, for your clients at the Brown Report, as well as those that are listening to your podcast, the Money Mindset, the Markets and Mindset podcast, across all different platforms, how do you help them balance that difference between being worried about where the economy is at, where their money is going to be in the market, and how that's going to ultimately affect their bottom line, versus using the market to their advantage and positioning themselves in a way that is, as you said, forward thinking as the market tends to move?
So first, worry comes from lack of information. And when you don't have information or the right information, you have all these what ifs, what's going to happen. And so the first thing I try to do is break down, historical numbers and, the truth in the marketplace. And if you look back over history, it doesn't matter what recession, depression, 9/11, pandemic, long term, we go higher. So if you can just at least grasp that concept first, that long term we go higher, that removes some of the short term worry. Second thing is when you look at the charts, if you start to read stock charts, you look at a company like Amazon. I have my chart up here. It was trading at $190. It's now trading down at $93. To be able to buy that stock $100 off, very unlikely it's going to fall in half again to down to $50 off, right? 'Cause that means it fell 75%. And so when you think about understanding that they still have a business, they make billions of dollars, they have Amazon web servers, they have, they're shipping and shopping, they still generate money. So that removes the fear of saying like nobody's shopping right now. It's like, no, just maybe people aren't spending as much, and that's already been accounted for in that 50% drop. So just helping people understand the numbers and the math. And then the third thing is understanding that there are strategies to protect your account and make money when things are falling. So you don't have to be nervous and you don't have to panic. You could deploy some of those strategies that is like insurance for your account. You can buy put options that say if the market falls, I will not lose any more money than this, or I will have locked in my gains. And so those are the three ways I try to help people understand the historical data, finding good companies, understand they still do normal business and that they're not going to zero. And then number three, understanding the strategies that they can deploy to protect their account and grow it, even if things start to deteriorate a little bit more. But how much more could it deteriorate? We've already accounted for that because the market is forward thinking.
And as you said, and as other experts that we've talked to in this regard, and economists have said, given that we're in kind of a downward time in the economy and in the markets, it is a good time for people that are entering the market for the first time or considering entering the market. It's a good time to get in and to make those investments while these prices are lower than they typically have been in the past. And so, Jason, for those that are just getting interested in entering the market or just about to start putting some money into the market and investing, what are the two most important things or most important pieces of advice that you would give them as they're starting today in this situation we're in right now?
So the first thing I would tell people is to think about your goals, because that's going to direct how you invest or trade. And what I mean by that is if you're investing for retirement, then it's a different time frame. You got 20, 30 years. And like we said, the market goes up over time. You can just go with an ETF like the SPY that mirrors the S&P 500 and just say, hey, over time, the S&P 500 returns 11 to 13%. I'm just going to park my money there, and I'm going to, continue to fund it or fund my 401k or my IRA, and I won't look at it for 20 years. So if that's your goal, and then you understand that time frame, it's a great time to get involved. The second thing I would tell someone who's just getting involved right now is, if you really want to take this kind of into your own hands, start to look at some of the companies that you do business with. You do business with Target. You do business with Amazon. Maybe you have an Apple iPhone. Maybe you have an Android phone, you use Google. Maybe you buy makeup from Ulta if you're a female. Ulta has been on a tear. And so look at some of the companies that you do business with and then learn how to read stock charts or at least understand if it's in an uptrend or a downtrend. And then start to invest with an amount that you're comfortable with, that if for some reason you're just 100% wrong on this, at least you're in the game and you're starting to learn. So those are two types of individuals I would speak to and two different insights I would give them. If you're investing long-term, just know the market goes up long-term. And if you want to take it into your own hands, but you don't want to blow up your account, maybe you start with $500 or $1,000 and see what it's like to own a piece of the companies that you already do business with and get into the rhythm of seeing how does this stock move every month or 6 months to see, can you catch the rhythm of knowing when it's going in an uptrend and when that trend is over and it's starting to come down.
Good place to go for advice and other information as you're beginning your journey of learning about the stock market and investing is thebrownreport.com. You can also listen to Jason's podcast, the Money Markets and Mindset podcast, and find more info on thebrownreport.com as well. Jason, thank you so much for joining us.
Tyler, thanks for having me. Always a pleasure.
Appreciate it. More information, once again, thebrownreport.com. We'll take a break on the Megacast. On the other side, we'll do a little bit of traveling and head to Posture Town, where an author from Oakland University, who's also a physical therapist and a doctoral student, will join us to talk about their new book, teaching kids about the importance of having good posture and the ways it can prevent pain in your daily life. That's coming up next. You're watching and listening to the Megacast.
Let's relish these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the festivals going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date.
Wake up, Greater West Bloomfield. Start your mornings with The Splash and tune in for The Splash Live. Get acquainted with people, places, and activities that are live, local, and for you. First thing in the morning, weekdays at 9:30 a.m. on our Civic Center TV YouTube page, or watch us live at Civic Center TV or on Facebook. The Splash Live, Greater West Bloomfield's live update show.
Now that the vaccine is available for children 5 and up, why do you recommend it?
Kids are part of the community and they can spread COVID.
We're seeing both healthy children getting sick from the virus as well as children with underlying health conditions.
They can easily bring the virus home to other people that are vulnerable and make them sick as well.
This vaccine can change that and keep children safe.
It's essential that your children get vaccinated to protect them, to protect your families, and to protect those in the community around you.
Welcome back to the Megacast, our live daily TV, radio, and streaming show about all things Michigan. I'm Tyler Kieft. Learn more about our program on our website at civiccentertv.com/megacast, where you'll find more information on all of our partnering stations and find all of our full episodes and each individual interview on demand. civiccentertv.com/megacast. As you notice, I'm doing my best right now to stand up straight and make sure I'm in a comfortable position to prevent some pain, because our next guest is a physical therapist as well as a doctoral student at Oakland University who just wrote her first children's book as well. Shweta Kapur joins us now on the Megacast, the author of Posture Town. Shweta, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you so much, Tyler, for having me here.
Appreciate having you on. So first off, you've been involved in many technical scientific papers in the past, so you're not new to writing about these topics, but your first time writing a children's book. So first off, tell us about Posture Town, what the story's about, and how it's really going to engage kids in learning about having proper posture.
Sure. Like you said, I have written 12 scientific publications till date, and this was indeed a unique experience. It's a children's storybook which teaches them about good posture. Because, what I believe over the years as a physical therapist, what I've seen is I've talked about the importance of posture with hundreds of patients. And what I've realized is that it's very hard to break old habits. And this led me to believe that it would be a great idea to teach the kids early in life about the importance of good posture. And that's what this book here does. It teaches the kids about good posture in a fun and engaging way. It was a unique experience for me because, I had to write all that I know about good posture in a few lines. And on top of that, I had to try and make it fun and engaging for the kids so that they would love to read it. So that's what this book is about. It's about a trip to Posture Town, wherein the kids would meet the residents of Posture Town and learn about this important component of health, posture.
And especially today, we know that kids and in their learning experiences in school and out of school, so much of those experiences revolve around using technology and also for recreational purposes too. So it's a lot of screen time, it's a lot of sitting, and we've heard about this for well over a generation now with the advent of cell phones being in our daily life. People bending over and looking down at their phones, and they're straining their neck, and they're not standing up straight, or at least sitting up straight, and that can have a number of different health effects. So just how important is proper posture in preventing some of the aches and pains that we see accumulate over the years?
Oh, that's a great question, because posture indeed is very important. I feel like it's one of the most important components of both physical and mental health. And just like everyone, every kid and every adult should know that they should eat healthy food. We all should drink enough water. We all need to stay physically active. Similarly, I feel all of us need to be aware, at least be mindful about our posture, because it's an important component. It can prevent, good posture can prevent various musculoskeletal aches and pains. Almost every other individual today suffers from neck pain, back pain, knee issues, foot pain, different aches and pains. And the interesting thing is that posture is not only important because you want to lead a pain-free life, it also has impact on different other bodily functions. Good posture is important for respiratory function. It helps us breathe better. It's important for efficient digestion. It helps the gastrointestinal system work properly and promote good digestion. It promotes better blood flow. It's important for joint health. I mean, there are so many benefits that I think it's worthwhile to spread this word around about posture.
We're joined by Shweta Kapur on today's edition of the Megacast, physical therapist and a doctoral student at Oakland University and the author of Posture Town, a children's book all about learning about the importance of good posture in your daily life and developing those habits early. More information and how you can pre-order the copy, go to sbgpublishing.com and just look up Posture Town. The website again, sbgpublishing.com. And Shweta, you mentioned it in earlier on in the interview, and it's also been mentioned in our notes here that the key about Posture Town is engaging kids in this topic in a way that is both engaging and fun for them to really learn the information about why posture is so important. So how do you go into that to make this topic that, maybe isn't the biggest interest of kids this age and their target audience, but makes it interesting to them in a way that also gets them thinking in their daily lives about the way that their posture is?
Exactly. So, I love Robert McKee's quote wherein he says that storytelling is the most powerful way to put ideas into the world. And I feel that it becomes even more important when we're talking about the world of kids because they love stories. So that's what I try to do in this book. I try to make it like the story about Posture Town, wherein the kids are going and meeting the residents of Posture Town who are teaching them about good posture. It is engaging because it has the kids move up and try to practice that good posture. And, I've tried to use a rhyming scheme throughout the book. I mean, kids love rhyming words. I know from my personal experience. I've also we have tried to include colorful illustrations and try to make it fun and engaging for them so that it's not like, it would be a different experience for them rather than your mom or someone just telling you, hey, sit up straight, sit up, just make sure you are not slouching. I think it's a fun way. We have tried to make good posture like a celebration in this book. And it also acknowledges a fact that it's not like you read the book once and you're going to be in good posture for the rest of your life. So we do acknowledge that it's more about being aware, being mindful of your posture. And this would be a first step towards trying to lead a pain-free life and trying to make good posture a part of your lifestyle.
More information on the book and to pre-order your copy, go to sbgpublishing.com. That is sbgpublishing.com. For more information, just look up Posture Town there. We're joined by the author of Posture Town, Shweta Kapur, on today's edition of the Megacast. Just a few more minutes with you before we'll let you go today. And we know that you're working on your doctorate at Oakland University in health sciences. What are your career plans after you eventually do achieve that great honor of being a doctor?
So, after finishing my PhD, I would like to help train the next generation of clinicians. And while I continue my research, it's like as a clinician, we follow the guidelines, the established treatment regimens to help patients. And as a researcher, what I plan to do is to help formulate and revise these guidelines. Again, my aim is still going to be promoting health and wellness for all in this new phase of my professional journey as well.
Find more information on Posture Town and pre-order your copy on sbgpublishing.com. Shweta, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure.
Appreciate it. sbgpublishing.com. Go there and click on their shop link and look for Posture Town. They'll pre-order your copy of her children's book. We'll take a break on the Megacast on the other side. After this very short break, we'll talk to one of over 320 charities and nonprofits supported on the Shared Detroit platform. That's coming up next. You're watching and listening to the Megacast.
Hey Laker fans, do you know a friend or neighbor that volunteers in Greater West Bloomfield? We would love to help you recognize them at the 51st Annual Michigan Week Awards. Countless members of the communities of Orchard Lake, Keego Harbor, Sylvan Lake, and West Bloomfield give their time and talent daily without regard for recognition. You can help recognize these individuals and organizations at our awards breakfast next year on May 12, 2023. Nominate your neighbor or organization starting January 28, 2023. Go to michiganweek.org for details.
Welcome back to the Megacast, our live daily TV, radio, and streaming show talking about all things Michigan. I'm Tyler Kieft. Learn more about our program on our website, civiccentertv.com/megacast. You'll find links to all of our partnering stations and find our full shows and each individual interview on demand. The website, again, civiccentertv.com/megacast. Joining us now is Kimberly Johnson, the founder, president, and CEO of Developing Kingdoms in Different Stages, otherwise known as Developing K.I.D.S, one of over 300 charities and nonprofits supported on the Shared Detroit platform. Kimberly, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me, Tyler.
Appreciate having you on. First off, tell us about your organization, a little bit of the history and the mission of what you do each and every day.
All right. Well, I am not only am I the president and CEO, I'm also the founder of the organization, and it is such an honor for me. I used to be a former teacher. I went to school in Ohio, and I wanted to move back to Michigan because I knew the troubles that I was having as a Detroit youth, just to make it to get to college, and then to not just to get to college, but to graduate from college. So I wanted to come back to the city and help other young people. In 2006, I took the vision and brought it to life by incorporating the organization. We got started. We started doing some very small activities in the yard. And I started it because what I saw was a repeat of some things that happened in my childhood. Kids kept knocking on the door and they wanted to play with my children. And I was like, but where are you going to play? So there was no structure, not enough structured programs in the area. So they just used to ride their bike back and forth to the store. And as a child, those are things that I did. But then we had some strong leaders who led us down the wrong path in the neighborhood. And unfortunately, out of 40 young people on my block, only 5 of us graduated from high school. So I didn't want to see that same pattern repeat itself. So started Developing K.I.D.S with $750. We served 27 youth. And today we are serving over 1,200 youth. We've been around for almost 17 years, and it is just truly a joy to just see everything come to life.
So what are some of those resources or those programs that Developing K.I.D.S provides in the Detroit area that are providing some of these extracurricular activities and these abilities for kids to interact in the way that's bolstering their education and therefore helping them build their future?
Yes. So all of our programs, I want to say, are at no cost to our participants and their families. So year-round, we have after-school programming that could include health and hygiene, financial literacy, teaching them all sorts of life skills, recreation, field trips to see different plays or maybe be able to go to sports games. But we also have an academic enrichment component. Less than 15% of third graders in Detroit are able to read at grade level. So we do a lot around literacy with our K through 5th grade youth. We also support those young people in whether it's math, science, history. We support them because we want them to not just participate and have a good time in Developing K.I.D.S throughout their childhood, but we want to make sure they graduate. And we have had a 100% high school graduation rate. In addition to that, we also have a summer camp that we run for 6 weeks. They are full days from 9 to 5 p.m. in the summer at no cost. We do field trips. We do everything that we do in the after school program. But in addition to that, we do languages. So we teach sign language, Spanish, Mandarin. We are able to go further in depth on those topics because they're with us for a longer period of time. We provide breakfast, lunch, and a snack in the summer. Every day of our after school program, we provide dinner. And I say a real meal of, it may be chicken and mashed potatoes and broccoli, but it is a real meal because we don't know sometimes that that's the only meal that our young people will have in the evening. 88% of our young people are low income who will participate in our programs. 85% live in the city of Detroit. The other 15% are generally on the outskirts of Redford, East Point, Southfield, Northfield, Novi. But we have young people that come to us from all around the city. We also have a workforce development program. This past summer, we provided 181 young people with employment through the city of Detroit. We were a work site for them. Those young people were paid. We also have a workforce development program where we provide training activities throughout the year to make sure young people can not just get a job, but that they can keep a job. So teaching them those transferable skills. We provide college and trade skill programming support to make sure that our young people, when they finish high school, that they actually transition into an entry-level job or maybe a career opportunity, or helping them to get into college or into a trade school, and not just to get there. We provide coaching and guidance and some financial support to them throughout the time that they're in those programs to make sure that they actually graduate. And then we have family night activities. So these are free opportunities for families to engage in activities with with each other and meet their neighbors also. We have one coming up this week. Today was also our Trader Joe's giveaway. We distribute food that has been donated to us from Trader Joe's every Tuesday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. So I know that was a lot, but we do a lot. We're excited about the work that we do.
Thousands of hours of programming in a given year, and hundreds of students that have been impacted over the years that you've been running this organization, Kimberly. Just give us some insight into the results and the outcomes that have come from kids participating in these kinds of programs and having these programs available to them through an organization like yours.
Absolutely. As I mentioned, we've had a 100% high school graduation rate since we started with our first group of high school seniors in 2012. We have had young people where they take a self-assessment, and 98% of them will state that they believe that they can graduate from high school more than they did before they started participating in our programs. This past summer, we celebrate every year those that are promoted from 8th grade to high school, those that go on to college and trade schools. This past June, we celebrated 21 high school graduates. We celebrated 3 young people who were promoted from 8th to 9th grade. We celebrated 4 college graduates, 1 trade school graduate, and a law school graduate. Again, when we get these young people into Developing K.I.D.S, many times it's not where they just come for a year, but they come and they remain in the program. Half of my team right now, I have a team of 23. Half of them are former participants of Developing K.I.D.S. So it's where we are providing those skills. We're providing work opportunities for young people to engage in, and are just truly appreciative as we build relationships with their families. We have 4 young people who have been awarded global fellowships for the achievements that they've made throughout their K-12 academic experiences. So it's truly great.
You can find more information on this organization by visiting their website at developingkids.org. That's developingkids.org, the direct website, or go through Share Detroit at sharedetroit.org. Click on the Find a Nonprofit section and search for Developing K.I.D.S. You can also learn more about over 300 other charities and nonprofits across the Detroit area on their website as well, sharedetroit.org, the place to go for all that. And Kimberly, these are excellent programs that are clearly having a significant impact on kids in Detroit and in the metro area who are participating in them. So if families would like to get their kids involved, if kids would like to get themselves involved in these kinds of very enriching programs through Developing K.I.D.S, how can they go about doing that and get access to these resources?
So they can simply go on our website, developingkids.org, and there is a link at the bottom of the page. And so through that link, they can register for our programs. We still have spots available. If they can't reach us or they're having some trouble, just give us a call at 888-294-6554, extension 6, and someone will assist them in registering for our programs. We have several opportunities for those to volunteer, to get engaged by donating. All of that is through our website and through sharedetroit.org as well. We're very grateful for their support and allowing us to share the work that we do through their site also. because we just purchased a building. So we are looking to serve more youth in the years to come as we will move into our new building at the end of next year.
We're joined by Kimberly Johnson, the founder, president, and CEO of Developing Kingdoms in Different Stages, or Developing K.I.D.S, as they're also known. Their organization's website, developingkids.org. Kimberly, just another minute or so with you before we'll have to say goodbye today. Before we let you go, if the community would like to support your mission and the great work you're doing for kids in the Detroit area, what's the best way they can provide your organization support at this time?
Thank you so much for asking that question, Tyler. One, I would say to share the word about what we're doing, Developing K.I.D.S. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. We're there on all the social media sites, as well as our website, to see the work in action, because sometimes a picture speaks louder than words. So check us out, follow us, stay engaged with us. There are several volunteer opportunities. Again, you can connect to us through the website. There are ways that you can donate, support our Village campaign, which is a campaign to renovate our building that we purchased in May of this year. Our goal is to get into that space by October of 2023, and we need everyone's support. Every dollar matters, every dollar counts. We will always come out and speak and share about the work that we're doing and how we're moving along in the process to get into that facility. So reaching out to us to volunteer, maybe it's to host a fundraiser, it's just to share about what we are. We want everyone to make sure that Developing K.I.D.S is a household name.
Find more information on their website, developingkids.org, or visit them also on sharedetroit.org. Kimberly, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, Tyler.
Great place to go for more resources on helping charities and nonprofits such as Developing K.I.D.S each and every day through your donations of just monetary donations or even physical donations of goods that they may need to provide their services every day is sharedetroit.org. Click on their Find a Nonprofit section. We'll learn contact information, volunteer opportunities, job opportunities, as well as some financial and physical goods needs of each and every one of these over 300 charities and nonprofits. Sharedetroit.org. That is going to do it for today's edition of the Megacast. Big thank you to all of you for joining us, as well as to our guests and our crew, Calvin Brown at Master Control at My Michigan TV. We'll be back soon with a new episode.